Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts Chainsaw Man. This is a character I know very little about, but I can't get into it. I don't like the character design, and I haven't been interested enough in the anime to watch it at all, but you guys have asked for me to review this because you guys said it was a very good figure, and you know I'm not afraid to say a figure is good, even if I don't care for the design. I mean, Naruto figures are some of the best right now, and I don't care for that at all. So, thanks to Big Bad Toy Store for a review sample of this guy, and I'm happy to tell you guys, it is a really good figure. There's a lot of interesting things about it, so we're going to talk about all of that, and there are some things that aren't great too. We'll talk about that. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before we get into the review, I want to show you my package. It's a very colorful package. I like that the background is dark, makes the lighter figure pop when you're looking at it. A little bit of light can get in on the side and on the top, so for those of you inbox collectors, this is a good one for you. I think you'll like it. Wraps around, that's kind of cool figure there. Some more photos back here, bigger photos than sometimes we see. I like that. Good packaging, very pleased. Alright, here we go. This guy stands to the top of his head about 5 7/8 inches to the very top. That's going to be about 15 centimeters, pretty darn close to that. And here he is up against Darwin. So pretty much your standard size for SH Figuarts. It'll fit in just fine, I think. And so let's do a quick question of the day. Are you familiar with the character at all? Are you familiar with the character design, and how do you feel about it? Are you into this? I just don't get it. I don't get the whole chainsaw thing. I've read about it, so I understand. I don't need you to explain the fiction. I'm just saying, as far as the design goes, I just don't get the appeal here. But hey, if you like it, you like it. I'm not judging that. That's not what I'm here for. Okay, so let's talk about the aesthetic. First thing I have to mention, very, very first thing, is his chainsaw is bent. Fresh out of the package. There's a curve to it. That's very frustrating, and I highly doubt that is intentional. So that's a little bit irritating. Some heat should do it. It feels like it's PVC. So I should be able to get that fixed, no problem, but still, it's a little irritating. Second thing I noticed is the blood spatter is nice. Spatter, right? Not splatter? Splatter and spatter are two different things. Now I have to look that up. Anyway, it looks nice, looks good throughout. I assume that's not his blood, but there is a lot of blood back here, so maybe it is his blood. I don't know how that works at all with this character. But whatever. Okay, there's a little bit of shading throughout his shirt. Looks pretty good except for this main piece right here, this upside down T sort of shaped piece, his chest. Lighter than the rest. These pieces are all a little bit darker, so that's a little off-putting. Pants are pretty shiny, not great, but they don't look too bad. And then the sneakers are done pretty well. So yeah, he doesn't look like the most high-end thing. Oh, I will mention, the body of the chainsaw looks pretty good. They did a good job with that. So, and you can even see, if you get up close, you can see the eyeball in there. I'm assuming that's an eyeball. Yeah, paintwork's clean on there. So yeah, it looks pretty darn good. It's not perfect, but it's definitely not the best thing we've ever seen, but it's gonna be good enough. And I think what really carries this guy through would be the articulation. And we'll get to that in just a minute. There is a little bit of shading in the arms too. I'll give his aesthetic rating. I would give it an 8 if it wasn't for the shirt being a different color, but I'm gonna go 7. It's pretty good, but there are some issues. For accessories, we just have some interchangeable hands, nothing particularly special there. An interchangeable tie, that's good for dynamic posing, and then an interchangeable mouthpiece to make him look angrier, I guess. So there you go, that's pretty good. 7 out of 10, nothing special, but enough. Now, time for the articulation. This is what everybody told me was the best thing about this figure ever. Okay, so head's on a double ball peg, neck's on a ball peg. It moves around really well. You're going to be able to do a lot. Now mine, the head got kind of mushed, and it sticks into the neck a little bit on this side. But on this side, it doesn't. See how it sits out? So it'll be fine on yours, I'm sure. But yeah, it does still pose around really well. It can look up and down pretty nicely. I hate it when the ruler gets in the shot. Side to side, it moves around well. You will have no real problems there unless you have a problem like mine, in which case a little bit of hairdryer or some warm water will do the trick. For the shoulders, they do have this cool thing where the butterfly joint has a hinge in it to raise the arm up. That's very cool. Alright, and then you can also bring it around. So the butterfly is a super functional joint. Very, very nicely done. One of the best butterfly joints ever. Works really well. That probably isn't very cheap to produce, but it does work. Now the thing I don't care for about it is the way the arm connects to it. It's not great. So you're getting almost all the work done in the butterfly rather than the shoulder itself. So be aware of that. You are going to run into some issues probably, but I think you'll be able to hit most poses. It's just kind of a nuisance the way this is. It's so limited on the shoulder itself rather than instead of having the butterfly do a lot of work and the shoulder does very, very little. So, I mean, it works, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of weird. So just be aware that you'll be able to hit your poses. It's just kind of a tedious process in some cases. Not really a big deal, but I wish he could raise his arm. Well, yeah, it goes pretty high up, and that actually gives it more of a natural pose because in real life, your shoulder doesn't just rotate right here, it does lift up. So that's a pretty good design. I think that's good. I like it. All right, you do get a swivel here at the cuff of the sleeve where you can see that cut, and then you also get one at the elbow, so you can just rotate this around however you need to. Good range for the elbow, even though it's a single joint, and that's gonna be your bicep swivel. Really good range, looks good, and then that's it, because the hands obviously they don't do much. All right, for the torso, it's really just some ball pegs in here. He moves around really well, leans back really well, leans forward pretty well to the side. Not great, but pretty darn well. Like, yeah, you could do better. I've seen figures that do better in certain directions, but overall he does pose really well, and you get your rotation, of course, out of both areas. I think this piece is just a floater. Yeah, it's a floating piece. It works, it poses nicely. For the hips, you get a soft crotch piece, so he can kick pretty high. It's not the best looking thing in the world for the crotch piece, but the kick is nice. And then it can also go back because they didn't really put too much cheek on him on the hard part, which I prefer. So he can bring his leg pretty far back, and then he can go out to the side. Let's see, do we get any crotch nuggets? Uh-oh, hold on a second. I was trying to move this arm out of the way, and the way they assembled it, I'm having some difficulty. There we go. All right, let me get that hand back. Okay. I wanted to get the arms out of the way so I could show you better, and we're having troubles, but nothing that you need to worry about. Okay, so let's get these legs out. They don't go all the way out to the side. It is just a floating crotch piece, by the way, which I'm okay with, and no real crotch nuggets. Not quite full on splits, but pretty darn close, so I'll take it. Thigh swivel is fine. Double jointed knee works nicely. Is it the best looking thing ever? No, but it's perfectly functional, so that's good. For the ankle, you get it looks to me like a Figma style ball hinge almost. So you get decent range going back, not a ton, but pretty darn good range going forward. I love that. And if you do the shimmy, you get your ankle rocker, so that's good. And then the thing I really like about this is the toe hinges designed the way I've been telling them to do toe hinges. Okay, had to edit the video because my card filled up and had to stop filming. Anyway, the foot is done really well. This toe hinge is the way I've been describing toe hinges should be done for a long time. It's completely smooth. They made the entire thickness of the foot the same, or they made the thickness of the hinge the same as the thickness of the foot. So when you pose it, it just stays completely smooth. You're gonna mess up the sculpt on the side either way, you can't help that. But the bottom of it, there's nothing sticking out, there's no gapping, there's no ridges, there's no lifts, nothing. It's exactly the way it should be. Very, very nicely done. Now he does have very thick shoes, so it looks a little bit weird, but that's as good as you're gonna get. And that's exactly how you should do a toe hinge. So very pleased with that. So overall, is his articulation absolutely perfect? No, there are a few weird things here and there, but I think you're not gonna have too much trouble posing this guy. It's gonna be pretty easy, and it's gonna look pretty darn good. So I'll give his articulation overall a 9 out of 10. I'd like to see the shoulders reworked a little bit, but it still works pretty well, and there's a few little things here and there. Like some parts on the torso, at least on mine, don't want to go very far, so maybe it was just stuck, or maybe it's just limited, but still really good. Okay, so now it's time for the final verdict. I still don't care at all about the character design, but it is a darn good figure. If you are into a guy that turns into a chainsaw, then hey, this is the figure for you. It's really well done. Some issues, the aesthetic's not perfect. The torso looks a little bit weird with the discoloration. Pants are a little shiny. Some articulation issues here and there, but mostly it's really good. I'm gonna give this guy an overall rating of 9 out of 10. It's not perfect, some room for improvement, but definitely a solid pickup if you are so inclined. So there it is. Man, I really hate that this is warped. All right, so there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, but that's it from me. If you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos as of right now every single day. I might miss a couple here and there, but generally it's every single day. And I do have thousands of videos already on the channel if you do happen to find a day where I missed one. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.